Welcome to our second to last training of this Catalyst experience. How are we feeling? How are you doing? We have made some strides over the past, 5 days or so. We had our live vocal activation somatic session. We've been rolling out these trainings. So I want to hear how you're doing. And if you are joining this experience live, then go ahead and tap into the Facebook community. Share with us, how are you feeling? What's coming up? Let yourself be seen and network and connect with other people. The link to join us in the Facebook group is in your welcome email with all the details. So make sure that you join us over there. It's not too late. Let yourself be seen, let yourself share, and be really, just part of this whole experience. But today, going into the second to last training, we are going to have a marketing reinvention, because before we can really revolutionize how you market strategically, we have to first revolutionize how you think about marketing, how you see marketing, how you relate to your marketing. Because if not, then we're going to just keep perpetuating the same types of strategies and the same type of complication and same type of anxiety that's been really the dominant factor in marketing and how we've been taught to strategize marketing in our businesses. So we're going to go through some big chunky dismantling of concepts and ideas of marketing that are just no longer relevant, if they ever were relevant. So like I mentioned, this is the second to last training. So you have one more training that's going to be dropping in your inbox. And after that, we are going to meet for our final live community call. So our live community call is going to be Tuesday, September 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The link to join, the Zoom link to join, and the details are in your previous emails. Go back to your welcoming email, go back to today's email should also have all the information for our next live call. So this live call is essentially a space for us to get in a room together and actually talk strategy, talk about your brand strategy, talk about your messaging strategy, talk about marketing strategy, any specific questions relating to this experience that you have. Let's get in a room together. Let's really talk about what that could look like for you, because the whole intention of this series is to give you all the fundamental building blocks to go through a full marketing revolution. And that includes having your next steps of what you can do after this experience to really start popping off online, to start really differentiating your brand, connecting with your next clients. So let's get in the room together and let's jam out on that. And let's see what else. I think that's it for reminders. Community, check in with the Facebook community, be part of the community chat. We have that live implementation call happening Tuesday, September 5th. And you have tomorrow's training to wrap up this whole experience. So without further ado, let's get into the content for today. This first one is a big one. This first one is something that also kind of really inspired this whole Catalyst series and this whole conversation. And the first thing that we have to address when we talk about going through a whole marketing revolution, to really strip away from what you were taught marketing had to be, the complexity, the overwhelm, the anxiety, this constant need to be on this constant hamster wheel, the 15 email funnel sequences and all of that, and really land into a form of marketing that's going to be your industry stronghold, that's really going to solidify your brand presence in the marketplace. We have to first get this integrated. And that is that no matter what your track record has looked like in business, no matter what your engagement looks like, no matter what your follower count is, no matter what, you are never going to convince me that you are bad at marketing or that you can't market. That is off the table. Why? While yes, marketing, there are certain skills and things that we can learn and integrate at the core of it. Like if we were to strip all of that away, everything that you think has to be involved, all the technical things, the different strategic things, the platforms, the social medias, like if we were to strip all of that away At the core of it, marketing is how you share the message of your brand so that you can connect with the people that you can serve, right? Like, plain and simple, marketing is just being able to place your services, your brand into the marketplace. So you're just sharing what you do, how you can help people in a way where you can connect with the people that you want to help. You were given a message, a vision, and you felt a calling to step into something that you felt so strongly about that you opened a whole dang business around it. You did that. It was not enough to just sit with that message or sit with that vision and clink away at your 9 to 5 desk job and close that door to your calling that you felt, or to close the door to that message that you felt. It was not enough. You actually went out and you felt it so strongly, you cared so much about it that you opened a whole business around it, that you've helped people through that business, that you've circulated value, that you've circulated money. Like, you've grown in that business, you've showed up for it time and time again, even when it's been hard. You felt that desire to grow this thing. Desire, if you were to look at the word and deconstruct it, desire of the Father. So this is literally, regardless of your religious affiliation or religious beliefs, you felt the desire for this brand and this message, and it is literally gifted and has been embedded into you by a force that is so much greater than you. And how can we say, or how could I say and believe you when you tell me that you're not the one to speak this message? You're not the one to bring this vision and this message into the marketplace. Because from my standpoint, you're the best one. You are the best person to market your business, point blank. And does that mean then that we can't have support, that we can't have people come in and, maybe you have a VA helping you with the distribution of your content, maybe you have mentorship or coaching or whatever? Of course, right? But that is support. That is support, and support is not meant to supplement or substitute you. Because without you, there wouldn't be this ecosystem of value and of transformation, of service. So we have to first solidify that. In this space, in this little corner of the world, I will never be convinced that you are bad at marketing, that you're not meant to market, because underneath all of it, you were given this message and you feel so strongly about it that you took actions that not a lot of people take, and you've taken risks that people live their whole life without doing in order to see this message come into the world. So you are the best person. You're not only a person to market it, you are the best person to market for your business. So if we were to go a little bit deeper, and if you were to say, well, I just can't bring myself to do it, or I just don't enjoy it. Well, I would bet that there's something about marketing and the way that it was taught, the way that you've seen it implemented in other businesses, the way that other people have told you that you need to do it. It's all of the surrounding ideas and concepts of what it should look like that has made it not align with who you are, and therefore feel heavy, feel frustrating. It doesn't give you the results you want, right? So it's not that you are wrong, that you are not meant to market. It's just that the marketing that is being implemented, or the marketing that has been preached and taught, is not a fit. So then the question just becomes, change it. That's it, right? It just means that there is a change that needs to occur. And when it just becomes about the change that needs to occur, that is a very simple solution. That becomes so much simpler than saying, okay, I'm not meant to market this. I'm not a good marketer. So now I need to hire a virtual assistant. Now I need to hire a copywriter. Now I need to hire all these different things. And that is the biggest gap that I see, is that people hire and begin trying to supplement their own stronghold in their marketing with all these other people and all these other softwares. And then it just becomes a bottomless pit, a money pit, an energetic pit, to try to fill that gap. But in reality, without that stronghold that you are the best person to market your business, that you are the person that was given this message for a reason, that it was embedded unto you by a bigger universal force that literally called you and you answered the call to communicate this. Without that, everything else just proves distraction. It's not that the external support is bad. It is meant to be a support, not a substitution. So now it's just about, okay, how do we actually look at the type of marketing that's going to best suit you? That's going to best suit you and the form of leadership and the form of expression that you were called to give out into the world, along with your message. And that is what we're going to go into further tomorrow. And that's also what we do within a literal session within the human design marketing readings. Now, I just had to like quickly shout this out because as part of Catalyst, you get a 10% off until, I think it's until Friday, September 8th, if you're going through this experience live. So if you know that there needs to be some correction, that there needs to be some alignment, that there needs to be some energetic and strategic shifts to how you are marketing, the quickest way that we can do that is by looking at some of the elements of the diagnostics that we're going to go over tomorrow and actually looking at your human design chart. Your human design chart is essentially the roadmap to how you are meant to operate in this life. It shows how energy moves through your body, your inherent gifts, how you're meant to communicate, how you're meant to operate, how you're meant to lead, how you're meant to make decisions, how you're meant to kind of operate within your business from a strategic and energetic, like there's so much within a human design. And it is one of the most powerful tools to look at what are the different marketing actions, but also strategies that we can create to make sure that you are communicating in a way that you are best meant to make sure that you are energetically showing up in a way that is most in alignment with you. And what are the different ways that you can use different marketing platforms or strategies to better connect with your audience, so you can see that influx of trust and of emotional investment that then leads to financial investment in your business. So take advantage of the 10% off coupon. We jam out in that human design marketing session, and then you have me in your back pocket for 5 days. Like, you would not believe the amount of coaching that gets done in 5 days. Just, having me in your back pocket, being able to ask me questions, being able to ask me, run ideas, marketing ideas or content ideas or launch plans. If you have a launch coming up, if you are wanting to sell a particular offer that it has been hard to sell, if you're wanting to get clear on what exactly to offer and how to market it, like literally, this is an incredible opportunity for us to work together in a short amount of time, but incredibly effective. So I just wanted to shout that out, that you do have a 10% off coupon because you're part of this experience, because I know that you've committed so much time to be here. And I wanted to offer you something that may help you if you feel so inclined to jam out together, be in a private space together, and have that further tailored support as you go through this marketing revolution. So that's the first thing. You cannot convince me that you are bad at marketing or that you are not meant to market, because you are actually the chosen one to market this message and this brand. The second thing that we have to redefine is this idea, or this overall sentiment, that marketing is just this like necessary evil that is not something that you necessarily want to do, but you kind of have to do it because business and marketing and sales is like the main things that we have to do. And usually when I speak to people, they just see marketing as like this burden, this weight on their shoulders that they wish they didn't have to do, but they know they have to do it. And I want to shift that today, because thinking of marketing in that way is not serving you. It's not serving your clients. It's not serving your audience. It's not serving anybody. And marketing is something that you don't necessarily have to do. We forget that because we're in this echo chamber of everyone talking about marketing, right? Myself included, I'm always talking about marketing. But we forget that it's not something that you quote unquote have to do. There are businesses that grow off of word of mouth. I had a family member that grew his dog training business over the course of like 20 years, and he never marketed. It was all word of mouth. So you don't have to market on social media. You don't have to market in order to grow your business. He leveraged word of mouth type, which is a form of marketing in a way, right? You're letting other people be the mouthpiece of what you do in your brand, and be like the walking testimonials, which is amazing. That's honestly the most powerful form of marketing, right? When people love what you do so much that they're referring you to their trusted friends and family. Only relying on that, though, as powerful as it is, we also saw the seasons where it was slow, and he was just kind of waiting for, he was kind of at the mercy of people sharing and having those people come in and call him. So you're kind of at the mercy of when people are sharing what you do. So you are choosing, even just feeling into your body, notice how you made a choice to leverage technologies and platforms and other outlets to market your business and to talk about what you do and connect with people, because there's a part of you that wants ownership over that. There's a part of you that does want to get your work into the hands of more people. And you want to be able to kind of own your power around that. If we were to think about it, the fact that we all walk around, where's my phone? The fact that we all walk around with these things that have free platforms with worldwide reach that we can share our messages on, like, think about what that would have even meant to generations in the past. Instagram has, I wrote it here, Instagram has 2.35 billion active users. Billion active users. So we now have, we don't have to market. We have a privilege as women. We have a privilege to have these platforms where it's free and we have access to use our voices in the most powerful way, in ways that seemed impossible to generations before. Feel the depth of that. We have a right to speak now, and that right was not free. And we don't just have to market, but we have the privilege of being able to be the ones that get to speak this message. We don't need a man to have to open the business for us or sign the loans for our businesses, which was very much a thing, right? They don't have to be the ones to now be the mouthpiece of our businesses. We get to be that for ourselves. And we get to set that example of what it looks like to other women and to future generations. So how might marketing change for you if you went from seeing it as a burden to seeing it as a privilege? That you live in a time and in a country, or have, the financial privilege of being able to afford these technologies that allow you that platform, that worldwide platform, to speak this message that has been instilled within you. That's the first layer. Not a burden, but a privilege. Let's go deeper. How might marketing shift further for you if it went from being a privilege to being a privilege and a responsibility? So adding in that extra depth of responsibility is important, because with responsibility comes ownership. When you are responsible for something, you're locking in, you have that ownership that you are exercising over that thing. And with ownership, you're called to rise. You're called forward. You're called to naturally rise in your ability to lead. As business owners, we have three main responsibilities. I like to think about it as like the three main categories of business. We have a responsibility to market, we have a responsibility to sell, and we're responsible for our sales, right? And we're responsible to deliver. We have to deliver on, what we marketed on and what we sold. When the sale happens, that's really that's when the work really starts, right? And we need that extra energy in the tank in order to deliver, which is why I'm so adamant about having marketing that aligns with you, because if we're using all our energy to market, we don't have enough energy to deliver, and that's a whole thing. That's a separate masterclass. But marketing is one of your main responsibilities as a business owner. So knowing that it is your responsibility, you get to make the call. If you don't feel connected to the way you're doing it, shift it. If you don't like the way you're doing it, change it. Nobody, I don't care how many zeros they have next to their name, nobody and nothing, external circumstances, new trends, new platforms, nobody and nothing has more sovereignty over your marketing than you do, unless you give them that power. So this is really like the culture that I invite all of you to lean into. And even with clients, this is the culture of the coaching. I love that alliteration. It sounds nice. The culture of the coaching. I do not tell people what to do, because I would be straight up insulting your creator. I would straight up be insulting the greater power, because you have a distinct message, a distinct service, a distinct value proposition, and also distinct communication gifts and styles and energy that my one way that works for me is not meant to be just regurgitated, right? Like nobody has, even if you have support, right? The support is meant to reinforce what you own and what you decide from your seat of responsibility. With the identity of a business owner, with the identity of a founder, with an identity of an industry thought leader, with an identity of somebody who is bringing distinct value into the marketplace and into the world, with those identities come those responsibilities. It's like when we make the decision to become a parent, whether that's to humans, whether that's to animals, whether that's to plants, any plant moms out there, when you make that decision, you are taking on that identity of having responsibility over that thing. So naturally, now it's in your hands, right? There are fundamentals to taking care of something, but there's no one size fits all. So that becomes your arena to take that responsibility and then become the person that says, I'm responsible for this. So if I don't like the relationship, if I don't like how it's working out, it's my responsibility. I have to stand up and take charge of that. How can I shift this? Let me figure out a way so that this can better work for me, so I can better work with it, them, whatever. So the two prompts that I want to leave you with, and this is going to be part of your implementation work. So within the emails that you get, these trainings, if you scroll down, you'll also have your implementation exercises. And what I find is that somewhere along the lines, depending on how somebody's relating to their marketing, whether they're avoiding it or whether they're really like frustrated and resistant to change it or resistant to let go of certain ways that they've been taught to do it or certain, launch plans or certain strategies, depending on how somebody's relating to their marketing, there's usually a fear or somewhere where they're not coming into full ownership and full responsibility as owners, as business owners, but also as people. This goes so deep, but for the sake of this experience, I've kind of broken it down into two scenarios. So if you have been avoidant, if you feel like you avoid your marketing, if you feel like, you know, even when you go to think about creating content or creating marketing or planning your next masterclass or whatever, you just feel like you'd rather do anything but, and you end up avoiding it. I want you to sit with one question. Who are you afraid of becoming? What is it about the version of you that doesn't run from being seen and speaking up? What is it about that version that scares you? Because there's something beneath the surface that is resistant to taking full ownership of your power and your access to speaking to 2.35 billion users today. And that's the part that I'm most curious about, because that's the part that if it's not tended to and addressed, no matter what strategy you curate, that part's going to be keeping you in circles. So that's my avoidant peeps, which, hey, avoidant peep. I was so avoidant for so long. And it was because of that, because I was so afraid of the version of me that I hadn't fully embodied yet, that I had never experienced the version of me that wasn't afraid to market and go live in front of 500,000 people, which I did. That day to go live in a Facebook group of 500,000 people, and I had it scheduled, and I was doing that action, wasn't just doing that action. I had gone live a million times, but going live in that specific space, every part of me wanted to cancel that slot because I didn't know the version of me that did that on a random Tuesday was comfortable enough to speak her message and be fully herself with that amount of exposure and visibility. And that was the part that I had to really tend to and work through. What do I need in order to soften the edges of that and elevate into the next level of my identity where I'm the brand owner that feels at peace, that can come back to peace. And I see my marketing as an instrument of that peace, to be able to speak my message, to be able to withstand different forces coming at me. And I can remain really like deeply rooted and embedded in my message and my truth and my expression. That was a whole different version of me. So if you're avoidant, what are you afraid of becoming? What is it about being that person that speaks, that is seen, that is scary to you? If you have been on the other side of the avoidance spectrum where you have felt really frustrated and you feel like you're really trying to grip onto the way of marketing that you were taught that has worked in the past, or you've just kind of stayed in the boxes of how you've always marketed, but you're not getting, quite the results that you used to get or that you want to get, and things are feeling sticky, things are feeling hard, things are not working, and you feel yourself like really frustrated, hunkering down. I want you to consider, what parts of yourself are you trying to keep hidden? In other words, if you were to shift completely who you are when you market, and also your marketing strategy, and show up in that way, what are you afraid? What parts of yourself are you afraid might be seen when you start to market differently? What parts of yourself are you afraid of experiencing if you start marketing differently? And this is something that I started seeing when I was noticing different peers or clients, when you start hitting a certain stride in your business and you get to a certain level, and now all of a sudden, for some reason, the same launch plan that worked is no longer working, or the way that you've marketed something, the way that you've messaged and positioned something, the way that you've created content around something, an offer or anything in your business is not quite landing, or not quite giving the results that you want, that it used to. I see this tendency to hunker down and to like cling to it and to have this frustration with it, like, why isn't it working? And it's like this grasping. And what I've come to realize is that a few layers underneath that, I'm always looking at performing like surgery with this higher consciousness vision. When we look at a problem, even in the 3D landscape of marketing and sales and community and engagement, I'm always looking at, okay, this is the 3D problem, but what is the deeper rooted problem? Because Albert Einstein said we can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it, right? So we have to get to the deeper workings of what's really happening so that we can not only, fix the 3D problem, but you're able to graduate from having to continue to enter into that vortex. But anyway, that's a whole different it's a whole different area, but still relevant, because it might feel like I need to get this to work, but the very need to grasp on to what's always worked, usually there's some sort of fear, resistance to, if I were to go through this change and this pivot, if I were to show up differently, if I were to really message and communicate how I want to communicate, how I feel called to communicate, if I were to really own my voice in that way and change how I do things, then there are going to be certain parts of me that are going to be seen. For me, that was the more spiritual and like more intuitive and more feminine side to me, to marketing, that I bring. When I was first going through that whole marketing revolution that I shared in the email that went out before we started this experience together, that's what I was really afraid of. I was clinging to how I've always created content, the same kind of structure and flow and wording, and I was clinging to the launch plans that I had been taught, because I didn't fully trust that the part of me that was more spiritual, more intuitive, was going to work, number one. But then number two, I didn't trust that that was going to be what people wanted to see from me. So I was afraid that once I changed my marketing and came into full expression and shifted my strategies accordingly, that part of me was going to seen and not be accepted. So if you feel like you're in that space right now in your marketing, where you're grasping, where you're trying to make the old thing work again, consider, what are you really afraid? If you were to let go and shift, what parts of yourself are you afraid might be seen if you were to make that shift? So moving on, the next revolution or redefining that we have to undergo together is to understand a little bit more about what strategy is and what really makes it work. So strategy isn't effective because of the specific actions that you take. It's made effective by how those actions align with your strengths, right? Your communication strengths, your energy, and your market state of being. So there's two things there, right? There's your strengths, your communication strengths, your way of being, your way of expressing, and your market state of being. This is going back to that idea, right? Where people use a certain launch plan, or they use a certain sales process, and it's working, and then it's not working. It flops. And then they try it again, flops again. They try it again, maybe it's a little bit better, but not quite what it was before. And so the brain goes into, why isn't this working? This always worked before. So what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my, like, I must be wrong. I'm losing it all. What's happening? I'm going to lose it all, right? And the brain starts going into that freak out mode. But it's because we have come to understand strategy as something that stays stagnant. Like once we find it, we good. We're chilling. the strategy is there, we lock it in and we keep it moving, right? But strategy is not meant to be stagnant, because strategy is dependent on two things, right? For us, when we're leading these brands, or it's really a personal brand, right? We are the brand, we are the facilitator, we're the face of the brand. It's dependent on us and our way of expression and where we are in our journey, and the current affairs, the state of the market that we are serving. So strategy, our marketing strategy has to evolve and grow along with those two components. As the market evolves, as things change in the world, as our audience shifts and they grow and their needs change, and different aspects come up, the strategy has to shift, right? And as we grow and as we evolve and as we shift in our facilitation, or we shift in our on our focus or what we offer or whatever, the strategy has to shift as well, because the whole point of the strategy is to be the channel that connects us with the people that we want to serve. So we have to keep looking at what are the different avenues and ways that we can stay in integrity. Going back to the integrity piece, right? Stay in integrity with who we are, who we're being right now, really letting that shine and be at the forefront, but also considering, where are people at? Where is our market at currently? What are they feeling? What are they experiencing? What are the challenges? Where are they hanging out? And then creating those strategies are going to continue to evolve. The biggest companies in the world are constantly studying market trends, right? They're constantly studying the buying patterns of their target audiences. They're studying the engagement. They're studying how people are responding to their content, how people are buying when they come into their businesses. How are people buying? What are those patterns, right? All of that human behavior, and also considering what are the current things happening in the world as it relates to our market. How does our market feel about those things? Are all elements that go into marketing. And I think for a while, at least this was my interpretation of it, I think how we have spoken about marketing in the coaching industry hasn't fully acknowledged that piece. We've been so focused on like this coaching industry way of marketing, that it's so easy, that it's just about our energetic alignment, that it's just about that it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. I agree, we don't have to dictate our results by what's happening in the world, because there's always people that we can serve. That's the belief that I hold, right? It doesn't matter what's happening, there's always people that I can serve. And I offer something that is so important and so needed. There's always people that I can serve no matter what. But if we don't know what's happening with our people, right? The market is our people. If we don't really stay up to date and we're not looking at, what's happening, how are they buying, what's going on with them, what are they thinking, what are they experiencing on a daily basis, what are the world affairs that have them worried, if we don't know them and we don't take the time and own that responsibility as brand owners to surrender to that process of studying what's going on with our people, then how can we innovate? How can we truly innovate to meet our people where they need to be met? And then how do we then have strategies that can place us in direct contact with our people in the most intimate and most relevant way? So this is where we come back to the understanding that it's not just about the specific actions you take. Marketing is a science, and it's also an art form, which is what I love about it. In college, I didn't like the accountings. I didn't like things that had a specific answer. I was the economics major. I wanted something that had a gray area. I wanted to explore things deeper and, be able to have different interpretations of things. I love the gray area because there's so much freedom in that. I don't see it as overwhelming. I see it as freedom. And with marketing, it's the same thing. It's a science and an art. The science is being able to study our people, study the market. What's going on with them? What are they needing? What's tripping them up? What are they worried about? Right? And then the art form is our own innate expression, is how do we connect me / really the brand with my people, with where I'm at and who I am as a person and my innate expression, and also where my people are at and what, how they want to be, what's really going to serve them, where they're hanging out, all of those things. This is the balance that I'm really excited to dive deeper with the membership that I'm going to be coming out with called Revolution House. And it's not going to be ready by the end of this live series, at least. But it's something that I think is really needed in this space, because we have forgotten that it is our responsibility to have both, to be able to balance both. And it's not about succumbing to the current affairs of the world. It's not about using things as an excuse as to why we can't be successful, why we can't serve our people, but it's about being able to develop true mastery over the people that we are wanting to serve, right? Being able to develop mastery with how things are currently going for them, and being able to create that intimacy and connection through our content comes from how much we are really willing to understand our people, the market, what's going on, right? What's shifting. And that is how we're going to be able to be at the forefront of innovation. That is how we're going to be able to be the breakthrough in value in the marketplace, because we're all in. We're in it with ourselves, right? That's where the somatic piece comes in, to be able to really be in it with ourselves, be able to fully understand our unique expression and our voice, and how we want to really lead this thing in full integrity. And then also be in integrity with what's happening in the world, what's happening within our market, and being the one to naturally innovate and be ahead of the curve, because we're so tuned in. And there's nothing like, there's this trend on TikTok, like the out of touch boss, the out of touch leader. That's not going to fly with people. Like, people want an in touch, I understand, I'm in it with you type of leader. And that's the balance that I really want to dive in deeper. The actual, what are you looking at? What are we studying? Where do we study those things? How do we integrate that into our launch plans? How do we integrate that into our marketing, into our messaging, so that we can be in touch leaders, so that we can be the people that deeply understand the people we're trying to serve, and then also be able to innovate with offers and marketing, and develop content that speaks a relevant and bigger message. Like, that is what I really want to go in deeper. And that's going to be held within Revolution House. And that's also going to be the house that's going to contain all of the somatic practices, the body-led content, the vocal activation. There's going to be an exercise around being able to fill a room. What does it really feel like for you to fill a room with your presence, and be able to have that type of presence in a room? So if you are interested in just hearing more about that, you can join the wait list. So go ahead, and in the emails, all the way at the bottom, there should be a PS. There should be a link to a Google Doc. And also within that Google Doc, all the way down, you'll be able to join the wait list for Revolution House. And I'm just really excited. It's going to be the value of a high ticket mastermind, with the access to be able to coach you and be in it with all of you, at the accessibility and more ongoing format of a membership. So I'm very excited for that to come into the world. I feel like it's so needed, very relevant to, I think, the gap that's being created right now with marketing, especially in the online services industry. So yeah, you can go ahead, commitment free, join the waitlist, and you'll be first to know. And also you'll secure the founder's pricing if you're on that waitlist. So going on, I went on a tangent with Revolution House, but going back to strategy is not just the actions that you take, right? But it's how those actions align with you, and also the state of being of your market. When we look at how it works with ourselves, so going back to what we were talking about before, right? We talked about what it looks like to be in alignment with the state of being of your market, but what does it look like for a strategy to really work with your energy? And especially for my people that say it's hard for me to stay consistent, like it's hard for you to not have like really intense energy dips in your marketing and be all in and then like want to disappear for 2 months. Um, this is really crucial to understand. Number one, to understand what is your definition of consistency, going back to training number 2, I believe, but also what is your strategy and what is it that's making it so hard for you to feel like marketing is not this whole separate thing that you have to get yourself in the right position to do, but it's just a natural extension of who you are and a natural extension of your creativity. So we have to look at, when it comes to marketing, number one, what are the actual actions that you're doing? And is that in line with your communication strengths? How are you communicating your message, and is that in line with your energy and also your communication gifts, how you're meant to be communicating to other people to make the most impact and be the most well received? And what is the ongoing flow? What is your ongoing process with marketing? When are you resting? When are you creating? When are you when are you launching? How are you launching? There's so many different pieces to it that go into creating a marketing strategy that fits into your energy, your preferences, your personality, but also your innate gifts that you have, that every single person has, in order to better communicate and connect with your audience. And that's what we're going to go into more tomorrow. And that's also what we dive into in those human design marketing sessions, because like I said, there's so many things that you can pluck out of your human design that actually have very valuable information as to how you're meant to market, how you're meant to communicate, how you're meant to show up for your people. So we're going to go into the frameworks for that tomorrow. And if you want to go deeper, that's what those sessions are for. So you'll have the link to that and the everything page in the email if you want to check that out, because you do have a 10% coupon as a little gift to you. And that is what I have for you today. So just to quickly recap, okay, some big shifts that we made today around redefining how we relate to marketing, how we use marketing. So the first one was to shift the idea that, if this is relevant to you, right, to shift that idea that you're not good at marketing, that you're getting it wrong, or that you are bad at marketing and you're not the one to really carry out the marketing in your message. Not true. You are the best person to market your message because you are the one that was called to live this out. And the support that you have should be just that, support, but it's not a substitution for you really being the carrier of this message. And if it feels like marketing is too heavy or too hard, or you don't feel your best when you're marketing, then it's just about shifting it. It's not about making yourself wrong or giving other people sovereignty or dominion over your message. The next shift that we went over was the idea that marketing is this necessary evil or like this thorn in your side or your burden. What would shift if you saw marketing not as a burden, but as a privilege that we have, especially as women and women of color in this day and age? And furthermore, if you take it a layer deeper and it goes from only being a privilege to also being your responsibility, because when you feel responsible, you attain ownership over something. And when you have ownership, then your identity shifts and how you're able to problem solve and look at things is back in your power versus feeling like you're a victim of, anything external, other people, their ways, their voice, all of that jazz. And then you also have those 2 prompts that are going to be part of your implementation exercise. And then the next one that we went through was the idea of strategy, right? What really is a strategy? What makes it effective? Strategy is not effective just by the specific actions in a specific order that you take. So, look at the, my 10-step launch plan to sell out your offers, or, post these posts in this order, and that's what's going to get you the clients. Strategy is not made effective by the actions in a specific order that you take. What makes it effective are those 2 aspects, right? Is it actually in line with your strengths, with your personality, with your way of expression and communicating? And number 2, is it in line with your market state of being? Those 2 components are always shifting. Therefore, strategy gets to always shift and be innovated and iterated upon. And then it's just about being able to balance the science and the art that goes into really powerful, effective marketing that, of course, creates the results as far as clients, money, sales. But those results are a byproduct of your mastery over those two components: the science, studying the market, studying what's happening in the world, what's happening with your people, and the art form of using marketing using marketing as your channel to highlight your most innate and powerful form of expression. Man, we've moved a lot today. We've done a lot today. You might feel the need to shake it out a little bit, take some deep breaths, but go ahead and while the energy is fresh, dive into your implementation exercise. And I'll see you back here for the last training coming into your inbox tomorrow. Bye.